Back here to Titan Stadium, UW Oshkosh, the 8-player All-Star game, and we now are joined by the North All-Stars head coach, Robin Rosemeyer. Coach, we want to talk a whole lot about your team, but first, congratulations. In April, you will be inducted and known forever as a Hall of Famer. Congratulations. Just tell us about when that news came to you and how you received that news.
I got the phone call about 10 days ago from John Polk, who was pretty high up at the WFCA. And so when I saw his name on my phone, I figured it had something to do with camp this week, at the WFCA All-Star game. So that was my thinking, he's got news for me about something. And so when he broke that news, obviously I was taken aback by it, surprised by it, very humbling day, just thinking about it. So, yeah, it was kind of a nice surprise, obviously.
Well, it's a great accomplishment, obviously an honor for all the time and dedication that you've put into this sport of football. And the result of it is you'll be known forever. And that's a great accomplishment. Congratulations again. Let's talk about this year's All-Star team. The first I want to talk about, it's what people at home always ask, is how do these coaches, they take these, and they're the best of the best, right? But they take these players from all corners of the state and they put them together with a handful of practices and are able to form a team out of that. How are you able to do that with some of these kids that maybe have never even met each other before?
Yeah, that is a challenge. And first of all, you have to get good assistant coaches that I've been able to really get well at. Another coach from Gilman, Tom Talley, runs our defense. He's great with kids. Richard Crouse helps him out, who's from Clayton on the defensive side. And then we run the Clayton offense, which is some spread stuff with Jordan LeBlanc, who's been a head coach in this game before and an assistant. So that helps. And then Todd Rail from Flambeau High School is another offensive assistant. So we got good coaches. But it is not easy to mesh because you're dealing with a lot of different terminology, different movements, different formations, all that stuff, offensively and defensively. You got to try to make it work in a week. But at the same time, these kids are all-stars, and they're pretty intelligent, and they're athletic, and that makes life a little easier. But there's still a process to it, though, to make it work. And we're still building to that finish yet.
Across the line of scrimmage from you after the whistle blows be the team in red. I know you've got a process in place during the regular season on how to get ready for that next week's opponent through film study and familiarity and all those kinds of things. Tell us about the challenge of how to get ready for another all-star team on Friday night.
Yeah, and so we've done a good job with Paul Micklig running the South team, is sharing formations with each other, what we're going to do offensively. So that helps. We don't want to surprise each other. We want to make it a nice game where we're kind of prepared for each other in that sense. So, we shared formations and what's going on. Even though you kind of got to prepare for 8 to 10 formations, it's still a lot, but it gives you a start anyway of what you can do. So you can try to get kids in the right spot and kind of know what to expect. They're kind of running the Highland offense. So we did scout the Highland football team just on YouTube, get some things that we can see it live. It's nice to see the formations, but you still want to see the plays. So we're able to do some scouting in that sense.
Let's talk about
watching the Newman defense, which we faced as Gilman because they're running the defense. And so there's a little familiarity to that too.
Let's talk about the offense. You mentioned the Clayton style. So tell us a little bit more about that style. And then what are first quarter, what are you expecting out of these guys in that first quarter?
That's a good question. We were just talking about that today in practice, just getting off to a good start and recognizing, even though we kind of know what they're going to do defensively, you're still not certain. But just kind of recognize formations, our defensive setups. We're hoping for a fast start, just to play well, play clean, not put yourself in a bad spot where you get down early and just do positive things. And I'm sorry, there might have been another question with that. What was the other thing?
Well, tell us a little bit more about the philosophy on the offense. What will it look like?
Oh, I see. Yes. So it is more of a spread. So when kids make All-State, you kind of have to ask them to play, which makes sense. You have to ask them to play in the All-State game. So we do. And a lot of those, you have receivers that have played in a spread offense before, seems like. And so it's in Gilman, we run a double tight offense with 2 tight ends. So we couldn't really do that. So with Clayton spread, where you spread people out, quarterback, 1 running back, 3 receivers, that's kind of the philosophy we went with. We're going to have a little Gilman flavor into the game, just to do something different with the kids. But it's just a nice spread offense that they run. They've had success with it at Clayton School, and he's had success with it in the All-Star game in the past. So it kind of made sense just to stick with that style.
Let's talk about the defense a little bit. I'm a bit of a defensive guy myself. It seems to me defense may be a little simpler to get up to speed, right? Who's my key? Where do I go? My guy next to me, whatever position might be playing, right? Who's your key? Okay, now I think we can figure this thing out. Is that going to hold true in this All-Star game?
Uh, yes and no. Some kids are just taught differently at their school. Who their key is. Some teams like to play all man-to-man defense. Some like to play zone. So we're kind of more of a zone team. We're playing the Gilman defense. We're more of a zone team, and so that's a challenge. That's the biggest challenge, is getting kids to learn how to play a zone defense, the communication, and everything for alignments. And so that can be a challenge. You would think it would be easier because you just got to go play football sometimes, but just that transition has not been always the easiest.
And then lastly, just about the team in general, over the last few days and what it's been 4 or 5 practices, what do you think what you've learned most about your team that you've got on the field?
Kind of like I mentioned before, that you get some intelligent kids. So when I talk about that transition, they're picking it up, they're getting it. It's just different, but it just takes some time. Yeah, they're just really good kids, intelligent, smart. They've been very courteous to each other. They really started bonding about Tuesday. After that Tuesday night practice, just seemed like it was a good practice. The kids really started bonding. We made a quick trip together as a team, and you could just see the difference that they're starting to loosen up a little bit. It is kind of getting, there's a comfort level when you first begin that they got to get over, because you're just around new kids you don't know. But I would say by Tuesday night, after showing up Monday, we had 3 practices in, they really started bonding better. And you can see that just makes everything more enjoyable for everybody.
Aside from the game, there's a big reason that we're playing this game, Coach, and we'll wrap up with this, and that's to bring awareness and some fundraising to the Children's Hospital. Tell us about how your guys have taken on that task of helping these kids out.
Yeah, they did a good job fundraising. Every kid has to raise a minimum of $750. We actually had the 2 boys from earlier that were our top 2 fundraisers from the same school that each raised over $2,000. And so that was good that they did a really good job fundraising in that sense. It goes to a great cause with Children of Wisconsin. We've talked to our players about some specific examples. We're practicing here in Stevens Point, and the large school team is also here, and they have a player that had leukemia when he was young and got treated at Children of Wisconsin. So it's kind of a close personal thing, being that they can see the kid on the next field of practice and went through this process with Children of Wisconsin. So you can kind of relate it, personally, and just why they did the fundraising. And they did a really good job.
Coach Robin Rosemeyer, good luck.
Yeah, thank you. We're looking forward to the game. That's going to be a tough one. This whole team's got some really good players.
Well, we're looking forward to it as well. As a matter of fact, we'll have kickoff right after this on Zaleski Sports.